Bethesda, Sony, BioWare, Ubisoft, Blizzard, and many more AAA developers are getting completely destroyed because all they offer in the modern day is slop, and if we're unlucky, it's Vogue slop. It's actually typically Vogue slop. But yes, these companies are soon gonna be a relic of the past. And that's a huge win for us because nothing of value will be lost for gamers.
For the last few years, there's been an assumption of an inevitable gaming crash that has everything to do with what we've seen from this industry, a
Yeah.
downward spiral largely influenced by corporate greed and bad decision making that has impacted both players and developers. For as many great AAA games we've seen, there at least feels like there's been as many embroiled in chaos. Lazy remakes, chasing trends, live service slop, modern audience pandering, broken launches, laughable writing, AI and blockchain nonsense, de nouveau, insane budgets, mass layoffs, and so much more has defined this industry, as well as sweaty execs lying to both its fanbase and development team. No one in particular I'm referring to. But as often as this industry feels like a lost cause and a dumpster fire, there are signs of hope. Signs that the old guard is now being replaced by a new promising era that has made game creation more open than ever before. Just this last year,
Now, to be honest, the AAA industry can easily get back. They have everything that they need to succeed. They have money, they have people, they have IPs. Even if there were no IPs, by the way, you can just make something new that's interesting and good. But they're not aiming to really make anything new or interesting or good for some reason. When the disease of unknown origin hit, it was a very interesting thing because it effectively doubled and in some cases tripled and even quadrupled some companies' values when it comes to gaming, some player amounts and things like that, except Blizzard. And they used the excuse, well, everyone else in the gaming industry is seeing double the numbers, but the disease of unknown origin is actually hitting us. Yeah, that's the thing. For everyone else, positive, for us, negative. Classic Business 101, boys. What can I honestly say here? Blame something. As long as you blame something, it's good, okay? And this pushed a lot of companies into a complete false sense of security. Because gaming, let's be honest, was the easiest thing to do at that time. All you were doing is staying inside, watching shows, playing games, masturbating. Rinse and repeat, but sometimes double the masturbating. Okay? That was a lot of people's lives back then, okay? And, well, because these companies are on the stock market, they always need to grow. The line must go up. And whenever a company like this sees unparalleled growth, they have no right, sadly, to say, hey, yeah, this little thing that's happening right now, it's just a blimp on the radar. It's gonna go away after 2 years. It's stopping at some point. They have no right to say that. So they start expanding. They start massively expanding. Some companies even actually double their size of teams, which was insane and stupid. And then the high of the lockdown goes away, and there's no way to actually keep up the profits, keep up the same level that was previously, and sustain these new teams, new buildings that they're making, new things that they have bought, and everything is going downwards. Then at the same time, put in the fact that it is the absolute high tide of the Biden woke era of brain rot, and gaming is getting its share too, also. We have BlackRock CEOs coming out and saying, well, we know people don't want to be woke morons, but we're gonna force them. And then BlackRock gives a lot of gaming companies a huge share of investment and all of these good things, you know? And then gaming becomes extremely woke, and now it's arguably just a political tool in a political hand of the left, and it's not stopping. And then we are here now at the collapse, because obviously none of this is sustainable. None of this is sustainable in the slightest. And now people who actually care about gaming want to make games because they're good and want to make money. They're just making good games that make money. Well, these AAA developers who care about political pandering are losing money, losing studios, having to fire a bunch of morons, and a lot of other things. This was all predetermined in the skies, okay? The gypsy last week when she read my fortune, she told me this is gonna happen. She knew, okay?
Alone, we've had a phenomenal poker roguelike Balatro, Animal Well, which was an extraordinarily well done Metroidvania, and even Manor Lords began as a gorgeous, promising medieval city builder. All three of these games up for Game of the Year awards, built by a single
Manor Lords, by the way, is currently one of the top selling games of the year, believe it or not, which is crazy.
developer. Then when we start diving into the dev teams that define 2024, you'll notice a lot of them were relatively unknown or smaller studios beforehand, from Arrowhead Surprise Hit with Helldivers 2 to Game Science's Black Myth Wukong, which beautifully brought together hard-hitting.
Larian was a AA studio. Yeah. Larian was a AA studio. Baldur's Gate 3 was a AA game, by the way.
Action and Chinese mythology, to Shift Up's stunning Stellar Blade with stylish combat and sexy character design, to Saber Interactive reviving what felt like an old school action game with Space Marine 2. There are more examples, of course, but all of this is evidence of an industry that is evolving, changing to a point in which it's hard to predict the next big thing in this industry, and that is good, healthy in my opinion. Last year's big shocking behemoth was Larian's Baldur's Gate 3, a single player game that has only continued to explode in players this year. Larian, a studio that faced bankruptcy years ago and was really just getting by up until they had the opportunity to work on Baldur's Gate, has set an example of what many want from this industry, and boss Sven Vink at the Game Awards again called out this industry for its disrespect of both players and developers, while making a bold prediction of 2025. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. A studio makes a game because they want to make a game they want to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve the brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. Furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit, and they didn't make decisions that they knew were short-sighted in function of a bonus or politics. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow. They were driven by idealism and wanted players to have fun, and they realized that if the developers don't have fun, nobody was going to have fun. They understood the value of respect, that if they treated their developers and players well, the same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned. But above all, they cared about their games because they love games. It's really that simple. It's easy to get lost.
That is a very good statement, very powerful statement, and it's true. Gamers will forgive a company that has done good and it messes up once on accident, and they try their best. It constantly happens. We give the benefit of the doubt, obviously. Not to Blizzard any longer, no, though. You can just go to hell, and in hell you shall stay. That would be the optimal place for you, okay? But other than that, yeah, this is completely true. You just need to make a good game. But a lot of these games are first designed around the idea that, hey, we're going to sell microtransactions, so make something in the game that's annoying or slow so people will buy the microtransactions. You know what's the funniest part about microtransactions, in my opinion? It's the fact that you don't even actually have to gut your game to sell these microtransactions. If there's one thing, for example, Dragon's Dogma and Capcom has proved, that you can have a system in the game that requires, I don't know, for example, silver. And you can get 1 billion silver in that game in 10 minutes if you just farm for 10 minutes. And that 1 billion silver is going to last you for the next 15 lifetimes that you're going to play that game, right? And then you can still sell silver in the shop and people will buy it, okay? You don't have to make the experience in the game worse for people to just for people who are gonna buy microtransactions in the first place to buy them anyway. You don't have to lower the drops by 20% so people buy them in the shop. Even if the resource is infinite and you sell that resource, infinity plus 1, people are gonna buy it. There's always gonna be those people.
in the AAA sphere of controversial upcoming releases. But what people aren't talking enough about is this new era that approaches. Games like Rebel Wolves' Dawnwalker is what I'm talking about. A bunch of the talented developers behind The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt left CD Projekt Red and formed a new studio and looked to take on this industry with a brand new AAA dark fantasy game. A number of former Ubisoft developers have spent the last couple of years working on Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33, a new turn-based RPG. The French studio Sandfall Interactive looked to have combined fantasy and Belle Epoque art fluences in a stunning package. A bunch of the top developers behind BioWare's biggest and best franchises left the studio a number of years ago.
This is Exodus he's talking about. I don't believe Exodus is going to be successful. We have covered this 2 times, and the second time I forgot about this. But Exodus is being... The money is being gotten from Wizards of the Coast. And that is pretty much the biggest red flag in history. Okay? Wizards of the Coast is a phenomenally, absolutely insanely incompetent company with some of the strongest, biggest IPs in history. They are responsible for D&D, Magic the Gathering, and some other stuff. And they are mismanaging that shit for like decades at this point. They're making all the bad decisions. They're greenlighting all of the worst and I'm not kidding, by the way. The amount of projects they have greenlit and then have scrapped because people hated them that insanely much. One of the biggest ones is the Magic the Gathering ARPG or whatever the fuck that was, a top-down thing, where even auto attacks felt bad and people quit in 5 minutes after Wizards literally probably spent something to the net worth of 10 million on advertisement on Twitch. It was horrible. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast, anything they touch turns to shit.
And formed Archetype Entertainment. Now they were working on what looks to be a spiritual successor to the Mass Effect franchise. These projects are what has me optimistic about the future.
Mass Effect franchise with, whatever the hell this is supposed to be, humanity's savior.
These projects are what has me optimistic about the future of this industry, because more like it are coming, and redefining what it means to be a game in a variety of ways. Now, like Exodus, other games such as Casual Duels is working to make its mark on the games industry. Today's sponsor, Casual Duels, is a unique PvP card strategy game on iOS.
Guess who cares, buckaroo? Literally no one.
Before they were to be added to GOG's preservation program. Sony and Rockstar have both controversially done similar actions in recent memory. Announce remasters, delist old games, sell for a premium. Blizzard's Overwatch 2 exists without a vision. They spent years working on it.
And Tracer exists without an ass still. The horror.
Making promises of a PvE focus to just revert back to basically what they released with the original installment, although with a more greedy microtransaction store. Greed, new company motto it seems at Blizzard. Bethesda Game Studios leadership has done victory laps and gone on the defensive when it comes to one of the worst game expansions in recent history. Starfield...
It's not even an expansion. Starfield by itself was a disaster. And yeah, Bethesda said 20? Was it 20? 20 million! Yeah, because it's free. Because it's free on Game Pass. And then only roughly 6% of the player base returned for the expansion, which was, by the way, also free for the same people. That's insanity. They literally sold 30 minutes of gameplay for $10. And I'm not kidding. That's a DLC they have. And then another one that was like 1 hour for $20. It's insanity.
Shattered Space was a travesty. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a live service flop in the same vein as Marvel's Avengers that we all saw coming, except Rocksteady and Warner Brothers that lost $200 million in 8+ years working on this slop. Saints Row the remake envisioned offering a new tone for a new modern audience, which everyone hated and led to Volition shutting its doors.
Good.
Dragon Age The Veilguard became a war zone with preachy in-game clips going viral and BioWare being silent.
There are still to this day people, woke lunatics, who are gonna say, no, Dragon Age was a success, what are you talking about? Most people are playing on Xbox. Oh wait, what does it play? No one cares. No one cares. This was a disaster, everyone knows it. They have barely sold 1 million copies. They need to sell most likely 5 to 7 million to break even. They're never gonna do that. And now the same people who made this non-gender conformist masterpiece are making Mass Effect 5. Jesus, BioWare cannot be put in the grave fast enough.
On sales of the game. Skull and Bones, the first so-called quadruple A game, was worked on for nearly a decade and reportedly had a budget of $600 to $800 million. It endured a lengthy, dramatic development with numerous delays and eventually reached
the first quadruple A game of our time. And it was not... I wouldn't play it if they paid me.
The finish line to lackluster reception and sales. It was also a far cry from what was originally advertised. The Last of Us Online was a thing until it wasn't.
Also, by the way, the Skull and Bones thing, 50% of your crew is women, which is 10 out of 10, because, you know, if pirates were women en masse, well, pirates weren't women en masse. Do you know why? Because, yeah, you're gonna get odd. Yeah, that's your future as a piratess, I guess.
Sega's $100 million live service Hyenas, also never even released. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has been in development hell for 16 years. Arcane Austin, an award-winning single-player dev, was pushed to make Redfall, a live service vampire game, and it flopped so badly, barely anyone even played it, and the studio was shut down. Sony invested and purchased Firewalk Studios before they had ever...
For 400 million, by the way.
Released a game. A studio composed of Bungie veterans produced arguably the worst flop.
Wait, Bungie veterans? I didn't even know that. Dude, it's not like... Dude, anyone with the title ex-Bungie developer is absolute trash because Bungie was never good. Destiny is just surviving on the fact that it's the only game of its kind. There is no equivalent space future-esque type of looter shooter. There does not exist an equivalent to this.
In video game history with Concord. It lasted 2 weeks, and shortly thereafter, the studio also shut down.
With roughly a 2K player peak.
Star Wars Outlaws, the first open-world Star Wars game to date, fell flat on its face with numerous gameplay issues, contributing to the game selling just 1 million copies in its debut month. Warner Brothers, Sony, and other major publishers continue to bet big on live services, with many more projects on the way, many with the same damn red flags. This has been the games industry the last year or so, and really the last I don't know how many years, and it's pretty easy to understand the dissatisfaction that so many feel right now. But what if I told you...
By the way, this does not even convey fully how bad the game industry in general is doing. Because even Call of Duty is currently struggling. Or it's about to struggle. Because their last Call of Duty was an absolute woke disaster area mess. With women empowerment and all of the gay stuff that no one wants. And that bad boy undersold 50% of the expectancy. Which is insane for a COD. It was the... one of the lowest selling CODs of all time. And the previous time that they did something like that, and it was also woke, it was also a low seller. And now, currently, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is in trouble because cheaters are rampant, there is no way to ban them, and there's only going to be an anti-cheat in the next season or something like that, which is roughly, 2 months away. So, yeah, even if COD 6 currently is a good game by most standards, it's not going to be a good game when everyone in literally every game is a cheater. 10 out of 10.
There is hope. There is signs of things getting better in this industry, just maybe not in the way that you think or anyone is talking about right now. I think it's easy to get caught up in the big names of this industry and what they are doing, but the Blizzards, BioWares, Naughty Dogs, Rockstars, Sonys aren't monoliths. What made these studios great were the people, the talented individuals that brought us so much iconic franchises the last couple of decades. It's just unfortunate that these contributions rarely get the notoriety that they deserve. If they did, I think people would better understand understand why, say, the new Dragon Age's writing is a far cry from what once was considered the gold standard with Dragon Age Origins. An era at BioWare that defined the studio, and also an era that is long behind them. An opinion that really could be said about a number of studios in this industry. So on that note, I now want to switch over to the games that have me excited for the future of the video game industry. The AAA, Bethesda, Naughty Dog, Rockstar studios that I really do think are going to make their mark in the years to come. And we have a couple of games that have actual gameplay reveals, and there's no given that these games are going to be 10 out of 10s, but again, there's just so much variety, so many...
The hell is this, Stalker?
Many different studios being formed in this AAA sphere that
well, it's obviously not Stalker, but I mean, it kind of looks like Stalker more than anything.
Have me, excited to see what they're going to produce and the many different things that they're going to do, because I do think the quality has stagnated drastically from a lot of AAA studios, a lot of the big name studios. They're not going to go out and make anything, grand or scary that, could worry investors and such. The only thing that we get scary out of them is, live services? That's about it. So that's why I'm looking to these other studios. They're going to rise to the...
Wait, what the hell does it say there? Radon? The fuck does that mean? R-A-D-O-N. I know how to read Russian. I don't recognize the word if this is a word. Interesting. Is this even Russian? I'm not sure if this is... I barely know how to spell, so I'm not sure if this is supposed to be white or whatever. Interesting.
Out of them is, live services? That's about it. So that's why I'm looking to these other studios.
Don't tell me this is another Ukraine post-apocalyptic game. That would be so hilarious. Well, if there's one person I trust to make that, it's definitely them.
We're gonna rise to the top, and again, we'll probably be, at the next Game of the Year awards, or the one afterwards. But it's not just the games that are coming, it's also the studios that are being formed that I want to talk about. But we'll first start with this. Rebel Wolves. Again, we talked about this before. They're a new game studio from the Witcher 3 director creating a dark fantasy RPG in Unreal Engine 5. This began in 2022. And some of the information we've learned recently is that Bandai Namco will be publishing their debut title. Ooh. And we have found out that, again, Konrad Tomaskiewicz, the game director of The Witcher 3, he is in charge of all of this. And the team has grown in the past 2 years. Tomaskiewicz is the quest director on Cyberpunk 2077. He joined as a creative director. And then Jacob Smalek.
Okay, that's actually pretty good.
He is a co-founder of the studio and narrative director. He was also a lead writer at CD Projekt Red on Cyberpunk and some of the Witcher 3 expansions. So they have...
Ooh, that's also pretty good.
Have talent, and this is just a couple of them. There are other veterans that have also joined. I think one of the lead gameplay producers on Cyberpunk also joined this studio, so they have a lot of talent. And this here is their first title reveal for the Blood of Dawnwalker. This is the game that they've been working on, and I will say the music, it just sounds absolutely fantastic. Join us under the full moon for the game reveal event. And actually, they have this right now going.
I have not heard about this at all. I'm so clueless what this is.
On their Twitch. Turn it down a little bit. But as you can see in the background of this, looks very Witcher 3-esque. So they definitely are leaning into that. And that has me excited. It really has me excited. And this is going to be announced, shown off in the coming weeks. Just beautiful. I love the music here. But beyond that, then we have Exodus, the ex-BioWare devs aiming to be a titan in the art.
Yeah, I am completely not excited for this. Exodus is gonna be a giant nothing. It does have a couple of things that look cool. For example, their version of the Flood, the Zerg, the Tyranids, whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. You got some things. You got some really bad looking graphics. You got some generic looking. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but I think this is the meme that how the human race will look in 2050. Is this the meme? Did they go for the meme? Yeah, I think they went for the meme, boys. Yeah, I just googled it. I'm gonna show you. Wait a minute. Is this the right one? Yes. I think they went for the meme. This is the meme. This is supposed to be the meme. This is what I'm pretty sure this is what they went for. which is obviously complete bullshit. This is not. No one thinks that this is what humans are gonna look later on, but damn. That's such a meme. It's like what the gamer is gonna look in 2024 or something like that. You know, the deformed Slenderman looking thing.
Your new partner.
So you're June.
We're burning time.
Character creators, well,
Friends. Let's make each other rich. I'm not just here to look pretty.
yeah,
Again, this is by Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast are gonna say here. And Wizards of the Coast literally made Aragorn black. And half the fucking elves black from Lord of the Rings, okay? So, there's not a lot of things there. They also made a haunted, scary, spooky expansion with zoomers. Literal zoomers. And not zoomers. So, you know, this is gonna be probably shit. Probably shit. There's a bunch of promo material you can find about Exodus, and all of it is generic. This world doesn't make sense. Why the fuck is any of this a thing kind of world building? And, well, it's not looking good, okay?
With celestial tech.
looks like a bear or some sort, but...
Yep, looks like a bear. And again, killing a bear in the wild, completely fine. Killing a bear because humans put weapons on it is evil.
Yeah.
So we're objectively the evil guys that are gonna attack a bear that humans put in captivity, and that's sad in my opinion.
I absolutely dig the vibe of this trailer, and this is what I mean about the future of the industry and what some of these talented development teams are now producing on their own. In the comment section, I just love the comment section. This gives me game made in 2000 to 2010 vibes, which is such a breath of fresh air. This is where the creative talent team of Mass Effect 1 and 3 went, so this is where our
Again, I am big press extra doubt about Exodus.
BioWare team went. I need this game yesterday, today. I love when devs focus on gameplay and story. When the low-key Mass Effect music kicks off the trailer, LOL. Like I said,
again, the story looks all... Again, the story doesn't make sense. It's like, what is this? A futuristic, super corrupt megacorp world without the megacorp corporations? What the fuck?
it's definitely there, that vibe, and that's what I want. That's what I wanted from this. And then we have Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33, former developers at Ubisoft working on this. They've set some bold ambitions for themselves. They want this to really disrupt the RPG genre, specifically JRPGs. They say that they have all love for JRPG classics like Final Fantasy, but also want to see something fresh done with the genre, which is what they plan to do with this game. They also said that they want this to be an homage to the RPGs of old, while also, you know, allowing players to break the game with crazy builds. All great news to me. And then, again, they've also said that this is an evolution of JRPG set in 19th century France, in which you fight a mad painter. I love the premise. It's so silly, but the gameplay, what we've seen so far, is just stunning. And yeah, this was the debut trailer that was premiered earlier on this year.
Looks better than normal, France.
Hopefully the music...
Look at that, you don't see any migrant cap anywhere. That's insane.
Music isn't copyrighted, but...
No one's getting stabbed in the streets. We can fix that.
Yeah, the visuals, everything, it just really comes together. And if the entire game is this will be one of my favorites, I think, of next year. We'll see again. You just never know with these projects, but...
One stroke. And everyone of that age vanishes into nothingness. Every year she paints again. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again.
But it's France! Why would we want to stop that? I'm so confused! Why would anyone ever make a game where your objective is save France?
Yeah, look at that. The environment's just absolutely beautiful.
We'll break the cycle so she can't steal anyone else's future.
The music, art design,
Everywhere we go, we walk with death. Do you mean
Just fantastic character design. Yeah.
Oh, seems actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's just a glorious presentation, and how that
Still, you're telling me I have to kill a woman who destroyed France? Am I supposed to not fall in love with her or something? I'm sorry, but you're already kind of selling my heart to her, okay? Not gonna lie.
translates to the full game, we'll see, and I hope it does, because this just looks stunning. It looks beautiful. And this is why I am excited. This is why I am optimistic. I look at games like that are looking to transform genres that really...
Is there actually anything else? Some kind of giant skull thing? What is this? Former Star Wars Jedi and God of War director announced Giant Skull, a new game studio. Wow. Listen, I literally put zero trust in the developers at this point. When I see a good game, I'm gonna see a good game, but ex-developer of whatever, don't care. Look at Blizzard. They made such good games for such a long time, then it turned to shit, and then the ex-developers of Blizzard decided to make their own studios, and how many of those studios are good? None! All of them are a disaster. I'm gonna trust a good game when I see a good game, not live in hopes. Anyway, that was Legacy Kill HD, 10 out of 10. Bye!